So life in our private sphere has also become remarkably different. We are sort of unmoored in our house. It's not correct to say that we are in quarantine, because when you're in quarantine, you're like in an isolation tent away from everyone else in the hospital, and you can't be touched because you have the coronavirus or Ebola, MRSA. When you're quarantined, you can't go to the grocery store. You can't take a leisurely drive. You can't walk and swim on the beach. You can't swim in your pool. You can't do all these things that we can do now, even though we are very limited. It's really not quarantine. It's an isolation, it's a deprivation, but we still have a lot more things that we can do, and many, many, many more ways to make the situation pleasant. The number one way someone can make this situation better for themselves is to maintain a daily routine. Even if it's totally arbitrary, it doesn't matter. Just waking up at the same time every day, getting the day nice and well set up in the morning, planning and preparing your meals, keeping your home clean, keeping on an exercise regimen, keeping on a meditation regimen, keeping your TV to a minimum by having set times that you watch it, and more importantly, don't watch it. That is going to make the days so much better, and you'll get so much more done because you won't have this decision-making paralysis where you just are kind of, think of, I'm sure, I know when I'm really stressed out and anxious and panicked, I'll just kind of race from one side of the house and then think I have to do something on the other side of the house, and then race to the other side of the house, and then think of that other thing on the other side of the house, then race to another part of the house, and just hours go by and I'm flitting to and fro and nothing is happening, and that's time 100% wasted. Every house is different, but we all have a really similar flow and kind of the mechanics of our day. Wake up, have coffee, have a breakfast, feed the pets, do something, then we do something, work, go to school, whatever, have lunch. Everyone's house gets dirty once a day, everyone's sheets get slept in, everyone's bathrooms get used, everyone's kitchen gets used, and the more you're in your house, the more it's dirty. So by having a routine, you can really keep your home clean in 20-30 minutes a day once it's already clean and you're maintaining it. That is the difference between house cleaning and housekeeping. House cleaning, you're cleaning a home, and a big deep clean of a home could take 6 or 8 hours if you're doing it yourself. And a professional can do it in 2 or 3 hours because they're a professional. But when you're doing it yourself, you're not doing it all day, every day. Unless you're a professional cleaner, you're just not, you may be good at it, but you're not an expert at it. So it's going to take you longer, and it's going to be harder. So by doing it in 20-30 minutes a day, the house never gets very dirty. You're never going to have to do those long marathon cleans they're so exhausting and they're so demotivating. Nothing could give you a worse association with cleaning than those long, drawn-out sessions where your back is hurting and the worst part of it is that most of the time you never get the pleasure of seeing it all done at once. I think that's one of the best things about hiring a house cleaner, is that everything is clean at once, and then you can maintain it, and you at least get that nice feeling of, everything's clean. I can savor this moment. So when you give the house a once over once a day, you actually get that moment every day. You get to enjoy that every day, whether you have a housekeeper or not. And that's something that will enhance everybody's life and make it so much easier, especially if you have physical limitations or chronic conditions or some kind of illness. You never know when you're going to have an off day or bad day or feel bad. So every good day, do that 20-30 minutes, and you're actually banking the clean house for the bad days. And this will make all the difference in the world, because when you're feeling bad, being in a messy house makes you so depressed. I can definitely tell you that. Another thing is really, really controlling what you watch, especially in terms of news and social media you consume. These are the two biggest pipelines for creating panic and fear and anxiety and negativity in our minds. The news gets ratings for making you afraid and angry, and the ratings get them advertisers, which makes them money. So they make money the angrier and the more upset you are. don't buy into it. You are buying into, if you're sitting down and watching cable news every night, you're making this so much worse for yourself. You are willingly giving up your peace of mind and your happiness to someone else making, a huge sum of money in advertising dollars. That doesn't make sense to you. Same with social media. If you're on social media looking at all these fear-based and anger-based and negativity-based posts and comments and the worst thing about social media is people take the mask off and they put their most fearful, their most angry, their most panicked, their most negative feelings out there that they might not even say out loud in person, and you should not be exposed to that. Hold yourself to a higher level and you will be so much happier. I think it is much better to take in the news by reading it, not through video. And particularly, picture yourself watching cable news at night. Probably the lights are really low, maybe even off, because it's, I turn the lights lower as the night goes on, and the TV is so bright, and it's going right into your eyes, right into your pineal gland, right into your ears. Maybe you can even feel the vibrations because you have the volume up. And it's just programming you and coding you for fear, doom and gloom, and you will not even realize it's happening. And it's so important not to be programmed by fear. You can still take the situation seriously and take every single precaution possible without living in fear and without creating so many negative self-fulfilling prophecies out of all of this. It's not a foregone conclusion, and just because we're going through a prolonged period of hardship doesn't mean that we have to be miserable and fearful. And this is the best time to conquer those feelings, because if you were miserable and fearful before this, I bet you just had a different focus for that misery and fear, and you wish you could go back to it now. And that shows how unnecessary it was now, because you probably don't even care about what you were so afraid of before. You wish you could go back to that problem. So along with not watching cable news and limiting your social media consumption, I also think it's important not to watch television during the day. I think that what could make you more depressed than just like frittering the day away watching television? It's one thing, do that on the weekends, do that on your off days, make that a treat. If you really, really enjoy just hours of binge watching, think about doing it in 2 or 3 episode segments and exercising, getting out, walking, stretching, doing Pilates, doing yoga, cleaning the house. I cannot imagine an 8-hour stretch of just being on the sofa watching television or movies or whatever. That's not what our bodies were evolutionarily designed to do by any means. And that kind of sedentary lifestyle is so bad for you on so many levels. So if you want to do that, endeavor to do it in a healthier way. Endeavor to do it where you watch one 50-minute episode, you exercise for 10 minutes. You just have some sort of interval to get you off of that sofa. So that ties into the next piece of advice, which is to keep the day and night as different as possible. Make sure when you wake up to let those curtains open, let those drapes open. If you can open the windows and let some fresh air in, that's great. Try to go for a walk and get actually outside with the sun on your face as early in the day as possible. This is great for your circadian rhythm, and your circadian rhythm starts when you wake up. So you want to start it off right from the start in a good way. You want to be as awake, energetic, focused, and productive all day as possible, and then at night you want to kick back and relax and wind down without a lot of stimulating and fearful content, and then have a really deep restorative night's sleep and wake up and have another great day. So keeping day and night as different as possible is really, really important, because otherwise they'll just blend together. And I find that it is really exacerbating to depression and anxiety to wake up late and stay up all night and go to sleep late, because we're just out of tune with the world's cycles, and we have so much that we gain when we get sunshine and fresh air during the day. I think it's important to have every hour of sunshine as possible, sunlight as possible, and we lose out so much that we don't get it. So how could you possibly get that at night? And I also think that right now, picturing staying up all night, you might be really tempted to sit on your laptop and read really, really scary news and statistics and doom and gloom, Armageddon prognoses of the situation, and just you're awake at night, and it's not a productive, or even you're focused on fear. You're not focused on making things better. You're depriving yourself of sunshine the next day because you're going to sleep in so late. You're ruining your circadian rhythm. So you're having all these downsides, and I don't see any upside. And for especially parents, they're so tempted to have some alone time when the children are asleep. Obviously they want that, but it's not quality time when you're so exhausted and you're just getting yourself riled up with fear. So really think about that fact of kind of trying to fill up your cup of your spiritual vessel and your physical vessel, all three of those, with rest, inspiration, and then some sort of physical movement, and then try to have some alone time. So it's just sort of like get yourself back up to full steam, get yourself rested and feeling good, and then try to claw in some personal time, maybe in a new way. Maybe you can figure out how to trick the children into leaving you alone for half an hour a day. So at night, I definitely think that it's important to have a nice lighting scheme, like nice mood lighting, so you have kind of a mid-zone for your pineal gland. Your circadian rhythm is controlled by your pineal gland, which is where melatonin is produced, and that is affected by light. So in the evening, if you can have like an amber light bulb or maybe some LED candles as this middle ground between the brightness of the day, then maybe you have the lights on full strength because you're cooking and cleaning and doing things in the house, and then when you're winding down for bed, maybe the last 2 hours before sleep, you've got some nice soft mood lighting. And just think about not blaring your pineal gland with screens right until you go to sleep. So not watching TV right until you go to bed, not reading the phone or reading an iPad, full brightness over you as you're trying to go to sleep. That's just setting yourself up for insomnia.